Maybe you're not meant for me the way that I'm meant for you, but I'm going to choose you anyway over and over and over again. And today we are discussing Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Yeah. Yay.
Yeah.
And I know I hesitated, but got it right. Let's see. Short synopsis. You have three societies: humans, vampires, werewolves. There's a exchange program called Collateral, I think. And this is a story about building an alliance with the werewolves and the vampires. That about sums it up, yeah?
Yes.
With a new exchange program, a bridal exchange program. I don't I don't know. So you have a female vampire, Misery, and she has to marry the alpha werewolf Lowe, right? Is that how you say his name? Lowe? I just said, or is it Lau? I said Lowe.
Oh, it's probably Lao. But now I
I
can't
like
remember how it was pronounced on the thing.
I was saying low. I don't know.
Sure.
And for those who are new or don't know this, I do not like vampire books. I have very few vampire books that I enjoy, but I absolutely loved this book.
Oh, and it makes me
Which
so happy.
I know. Which I mean, I remember you speaking about this when you read it and that you're loving it, and then I was like, it's got werewolves. I was like, I'll get to it eventually. But we
Yeah.
read it for book club, and I'm pretty sure I devoured it in like 2 days. I started it on Sunday, and then I finished it on Monday. It was it only took me that long because I was under the weather, but I loved it. I loved the world that was being built. I loved Misery's banter. Like, she
Yes.
was just
That's love her.
hilarious. I love that there was a mystery embedded in the book. Like, they were
Yeah.
trying to solve the mystery, where her friend went, which I still can't remember her name. Is it Sara? Did we ever figure that out?
I don't remember, honestly.
Uh, I'm pretty sure it might have been Sara, which she's book 2, so that's good. I'm excited for
Yeah.
book 2, which we have to wait a bajillion years for in October. I think one of the things that I found really interesting is that she, besides, having the 3 different species, humans, vampires, and werewolves, is that she
Uh-huh.
didn't really had to create a new world, but what
No.
she did was made them individual by changing their blood type.
Yeah.
Humans red, vampires purple, werewolves green. And just that small change, like, just I don't know. I don't think we've really ever done a discussion on like world building in different worlds, but I feel like that just something so significant or insignificant, so to speak, could make. Oh, and I think they made the vampire ears pointy, which I thought was really weird, but like whatever.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. They did.
Because she could hide in plain sight because, without the ears and then the blood, nobody could really ever know.
Right. Yeah.
And I liked that she didn't follow all the traditional norms of vampires because I think that's where I struggle with vampires, especially them not being
Yeah.
able to go out in the daylight because they're just dead during the day.
Yeah.
I like how she was like, no, they can wake up, but they're just very weak. And as the day gets, as the sun gets higher in the sky, the weaker they get. So, I mean, but it was just little things. Other than if you didn't know that, you would just be reading a contemporary romance, arranged marriage novel. That's it.
Yeah. 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 That's no, I definitely think that that's certainly true. And I really liked all of what was so fun is it read differently from other like mystical creatures or like whatever you want to call it
Mhm.
without it being so like spent like oh my god, I can't articulate what I'm thinking. She did it in a way that was new and fun without drawing out why it was this way, or like how things start. Like there was no, you didn't get a whole lot of like empty pages of world building, or describing everything to a T, or like. And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about it, is you just got the meat and potatoes of a really great enemies to lovers, arranged marriage type of situation, without all of the extra ness that I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of authors waste time on. And this was her first like foray into this genre that I know of. And I think she did it really, really well.
100% agree with that for sure. I think that's what made it so captivating and pulled you in because you were already familiar sort of with what takes place, and then again, it's just these little tidbits of things.
Yeah.
The blood, the ears, the collateral program, like, all the things. It was super cute. I think one of my book clubs wanted to read another book by her, and I, like, read the first page, and I was like, "I'm not reading this. This is rubbish." So, obviously, I was a little skeptical on this, but I was really surprised that I enjoyed her writing style. Like, I wasn't bored with it. Like you said, she didn't waste space or words. I'm not saying that everything that she put on the page was important, but she didn't waste it on explaining how they changed when they shifted. She didn't waste it explaining how, well, there was one scene about how they bite because she'd never bitten a human before, but it didn't, like, again, like you said, like, it didn't take up space, and it didn't take up space, or I should say, once it was on the page, it didn't pull you out of the story because
Yeah.
you, as a reader, already know how this works, right? So I think that's something that's an issue with some of these paranormal fantasy is, like, you as a reader already know, especially if that's your genre of choice, and obviously they're putting it in there with the assumption that you don't know, but sometimes it can pull you out of the story. But
Yeah.
because we got to experience it with her as she was doing it because it was new to her, I think made it 100% better.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I I just have to say, like, I loved I loved their banter, but I also just loved Misery. Like,
Mhm.
she was such a strong character from the jump, but she was also really fucking smart. And that's something that you
Yes.
and I talk about quite a bit on the podcast, is what makes a female main character memorable, somebody that we enjoy listening about or reading about, connecting with, whatever, is it's not a damsel in distress. It's not someone who is waiting for them to be rescued. Like, they are figuring shit out themselves, whether their other half likes it or not,
Mhm.
and has, a solid head on their shoulders to make understandable judgment calls, you know?
Yes, and I think I also liked that even though she was a vampire, her strength was more intrinsic than it was external,
Yeah. Yep.
right? Because she was in the collateral program since she was 8 to 18, so for 10 years, she was away from her people, and then she left her people willingly because they made her an outcast because she grew up with humans against, her will, so to speak. I mean, I don't know how much will an 8-year-old has. Or how their maturity I mean, I guess they're more mature for vampires. But yeah, her strength was very intrinsic, and she did not let that deter her. Deter? Is that the right word?
Deter,
Especially
yeah.
when being in the werewolf territory. So,
Yeah.
yeah, she was very smart and sophisticated, and she's like, "No, we're gonna figure this out together. We're supposed to be partners."
Yep.
I will say the one thing, and this is just me being nitpicky, that I was really upset with is the scene where they're in the bedroom after they essentially have sex for the first time, and she's like, "I'm your mate," and he's like, "You don't know what you're talking about."
Mhm.
I really wanted that angst to be dragged out for a good 6 months, like, or at least 3 months, right?
Yeah,
Like,
because
they do all the things. Go on.
they end up, like, making up pretty quickly, don't they?
Yes, which again, I don't know if we've talked about on the podcast, but miscommunication is a really big thing that I hate in contemporary, which is why I hate contemporary because they use that as a plot device. But
Right.
here, it was more of a misunderstanding, and then they kind of both get kidnapped and taken prisoner, and then after they're released, then they well, actually, while they're being held prisoner, I say in quotations, they she comes to understand that he lied. And then so but yeah, they do it very quickly, but in my mind, it would have been so great if they would have, like, figured everything out, and then she goes back to the human world for, like, 3 months, and then he's like, "I just can't do it anymore," and they, like, stumble across each other and come back, but I think it was still really good even without that, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to drag that pain out.
Yeah, you would.
Yes. Yes. I
No,
just
that's one thing that, like, I I actually don't mind that happening in books. There is an author that I feel like does a really good job of those kinds of jumps, and it's Abby Jimenez. Jimenez? Abby Jimenez?
Jimenez?
Him is it's a J. Well, it's yeah. Is it
I
Jimenez?
had a friend who had that last name, and her last name was Jimenez, so I'm the
Jimenez.
one who can't speak proper English, so don't ask me.
Well, and you might be right. It might be Jimenez. I mean, that would make sense. Anyway, she does that a lot in her books, and she does it so well. It really gives the characters a chance to like breathe
Mhm.
after what's typically like an intense period of time in the relationship and kind of find their feet again on their own. And
Mhm.
that's something that like in order to do it well, it has to be done right, and Abby does a really really great job of that.
Yeah.
I'm glad Allie didn't do that in this book because I loved everything about this book and they needed to be happy
Okay,
forever.
so I think part of the reason why I was really besides me, being an angst whore, is that the reason why he never told her that they were mates is because he never wanted her to feel like she had to stay against her will because that's what
Right.
she's done her whole life. And so
Yes.
it would have been okay if after they had, figured out the bad guy and got released from the captivity of like 6 hours of however long it was, that he's like, "Look, yes, you are my mate, but this needs to be a decision that you make on your own. So we need
Right.
to take a step apart. You need to think about what you wanna do, and then if I'm your choice, then I'm here."
Yeah.
I mean, I would have still been okay with that too, but and in a sense, they kinda did that when she goes to the house. He tells her that, but
Hmm.
there was no break.
Yeah. No, that is one thing that like I feel like Allie could have played up a bit is
Mhm.
her reluctance to like have that bond and go into that lifestyle and that kind of thing, because I feel like it was for her like very much like, okay, the exchange is happening, I'm getting married, oh, this actually isn't so bad, and then it's like happy ever after. And I think you're right,
Mhm.
she I think playing into the unrest there wouldn't have been a bad thing.
Yeah. But I mean, Misery was pretty good about knowing what she wanted when she wanted it for somebody who didn't really care about anything beforehand. Their chemistry was really off the chain. Like,
Yeah.
whoo,
Yeah.
it was pretty. You know what I really enjoyed about the book is so the book's from her perspective, but at the top of the chapter, it was always kind of like a little sneak peek of his psyche
Hmm.
about either what took place in the last chapter or kind of like a foreshadowing of what was taking place in the current chapter. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too.
I think I don't know if the book would have been better or not with his point of view. It probably wouldn't have been as good.
I don't know, I think it's been too long since I read it to give like a fair judgment call on that. And I do plan on rereading it before the next book comes out. I've said that on so many and I just have not had the time.
You got 5 million years, so you're good.
It's not quite that long.
Well, it feels like that long.
Oh my gosh. But really, I just like, I remember just really loving her character. I loved the peanut butter.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
how she had like this guilty conscience about something as simple as peanut butter was so fucking funny.
It was adorable.
It was so cute. And I really like the way that she like bonded with his men too.
Mhm.
Like
And his sister.
I forgot about that part.
I don't really think she had a choice with the little baby sister because the baby sister was like, "Well, you're here,
Oh,
and
that's
this is just how it's gonna
right.
be.
Yes, I remember that now.
We're
Yeah.
friends, and your cat is now my cat." Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, like you're SOL. That yeah,
Yep.
they were super, super cute.
I did that. And the first time that they were intimate was pretty hot. For such for such a I hate to say this, for, like, such a basic
Yeah,
environment and scene and the way that they did it, it was super hot.
yeah, I
And
completely agree.
I have only ever read one other book that what was the name of the book? I think it was The Protector by Jodi Ellen Monopolis or something, I don't know. It was the first time that they were intimate together, and it was missionary. There was nothing fancy, nothing kinky about it, and the way that she wrote it, I was just like, "What did I just listen to?" Because I listened to that book. I was like, "Wait, nothing happened, like, but this is it." And maybe I was just the mood that I was in. I've never reread it again, but I was very sad about the Passion Flicks version of that because it wasn't as hot, but yeah. Anything else we should talk about? I always find that we struggle with finding things to talk about when we both really enjoy the book.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, like I mean, I kind of feel bad because we pick apart so many, so many books, but for good reason most of the time. And this book, like, there's just nothing to pick apart. Like you said, like if we wanted to get nitpicky with it, she could have had the angst a little more or whatever. But okay, actually, one thing that y'all mentioned in book club that I actually disagreed with, and I couldn't comment because I was working. But one thing that y'all said was about the dad, and I had a feeling it was the dad pretty early on. I can't
Really?
remember. I can't remember what it was, and I really wish I'd had a chance to reread it, especially before we recorded. There was a point where I was just like, I think it's her dad. And so when all of that like was revealed, I wasn't surprised. But I was also I was low aware of it. I can't remember.
So, I don't know if he was aware that it was her dad, but after she met with her brother, the brother, I don't even know what his name is, if he even has a name in the book, and Low, L, the alpha, they got into cahoots of working together to try and break up the collateral because remember the brother told the sister, "I'm dad's doing shady shit. We need to
Yeah,
remove him, and I'm gonna take over."
yeah. And she was surprised because he didn't show an interest in all of that until like things started hitting the fan.
For her.
Yeah, for her. Yeah.
That's what triggered it. He was like, because they had a heart to heart, and he was like, "I couldn't do anything when we were 8, but I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna let him do this to you again, not when I
Yeah.
could do something."
Yeah.
So,
I love
I'm hoping the vampire book is her brother. I hate vampires, but I'll read her brother, maybe.
Is there
We'll
a
see.
vampire book?
I'm a s if there's a this is okay, so this is my theory. The first book is red instead of purple. I don't know why, because she's a vampire, he's a werewolf. The second book is green, and it's about 2 werewolves. So I'm assuming the third book is gonna be purple, and it's
Oh,
gonna be a
okay.
vampire.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I like it.
Unless she sticks with the werewolves, which I'm 100% okay with that too.
Hey, I want to read about the brother.
I mean, I do sorta kinda wanna read about the brother. I'm not saying for sure because I don't want to be like, "Well, Misty, this is recorded. You said you were gonna do it, so you gotta do it now." Not happening. Not happening. Maybe. We'll see. I think that this was a really good pick. I'm very glad that I was voluntold to read it. I wouldn't have done it otherwise. So, good job, Jen.
Thanks.
You're welcome. 2 for 2. All right, we
Two for
ready to rate?
two. Yeah.
Okay. Darkness. Is that what we do first? Darkness?
Yeah, normally.
Is it a feather or is it 1? Because they send their kids off for a program.
Yeah, I would give it a one, like because of that. And I feel like there was some pretty. Maybe I might be getting that one mixed up with Unholy Vows because that's the other thing. Is like I feel like Bride and Unholy Vows had very similar, like I don't have a better word than like energy.
I feel like we need to expand on this some more because I love Unholy Vows and you love Bride, and they're completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But I
Well, I
think you're
mean,
no, okay. So now that you say that, because I just reread Unholy Vows because she finally did a cover with the alternative cover for print, and I bought it because I couldn't help it.
I love it.
I can see
The parallels.
the energy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
and it's
that's
nothing like
interesting.
it's nothing direct. It's more like arranged marriage, arranged
Uh-huh.
situation. Then you've got like the alpha mafia guy, and they're solving not
You
only.
have just triggered a new episode topic for us. Okay, sorry. Anyways, but you're right. Unholy Vows and Bride have the same energy.
Yeah,
I can feel that.
obviously, like Unholy Vows is, it's darker. It's contemporary in the sense of like there's no paranormal aspect to it. And I feel like the female characters were kind of along the same lines of like strong, independent, smart women who,
Mhm.
like, yeah, okay, I hear you. I understand we're in danger, but you're talking about my baby sis, or you're talking about your baby sis, and ain't nobody gonna fuck with either of those women.
Yep. 100%.
So anyway, I don't even know how I got on the tangent. Darkness, I would say, is like a one.
A 1. Okay. Before we go to the next one, I just remembered one of the things that I loved because we were talking earlier about how she didn't waste space explaining things. I love how I think we've talked about this in the past that we sort of enjoy books when we learn with the character and it's not just given to us, right? It's just better to flow through the story and learn with them because then we get invested. But one of the things that Misery learns is when they shift where their clothes go. And I love how all the werewolves kind of like, what did you think happened with the clothes? She's like, I don't know. So that just kind of popped in my head when you said that one was paranormal and one wasn't when you were doing the comparison. So I just want to throw that there. I thought that was hilarious. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 for
And
darkness. Oh, go on.
remind me, are they are they the werewolves that have like their clothes in a pocket of the universe and they just get
No,
them in a they
they
like
get
lose them
shredded.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
because when her friend shifted for the first time, she's like, "Oh, I didn't know that's what happened to their clothes." And
yeah,
then
yeah.
she's like,
I'm
and
sorry,
then
that would be
everybody's
really expensive. I would just walk around naked.
yeah.
I mean,
I
clothes
mean,
are too expensive for that.
beside I mean, if you think about it, besides being in battle or emergency situation, obviously they take their clothes off beforehand. But it was just funny how again we learned about something but through her experience and
Her
then it was funny
experience.
and then everybody was just kind of like not making fun of her but like giving her a hard time, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was super funny. She's like, I just couldn't stop staring at it, just hanging around her neck like I didn't know. And it's like 3 hours later, I'm like, "Is she still on that?" And she's like, "Yes, yes, I am." Because that would be me.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so spicy.
You're gonna have to help me here because I remember loving the spice content, but I don't remember it being a lot. I just remember it being really well done.
Okay, so their first intimate scene is when she takes blood from him for the first time. Then I'm pretty sure they only have sex on page like once or twice.
That's typical for Allie.
But if we're talking intimacy, she does take blood from him a couple of times. it's going to be really hard because we put the number of scenes as part of the scale. So and do we count the taking of blood as sexual?
Yeah, I mean, I think when the author makes it sexual, then yeah, it's sexual. If it's just
Okay.
like this is a feeding and like there's nothing else happening, then no.
So that puts it around 4 or 5.
Okay, so respectable.
Yeah. I'm I'm going to say a 3 or a 4 because the first time that they have intercourse is just it's hot. That's all I'm going to say is it's hot.
I feel like I need to reread this today.
I mean, maybe just that scene.
Oh my god, I love it.
Or maybe it's just me. I was sick, slightly medicated when I read it. So like maybe I was just loosey goosey, and maybe when you read it, you're like, Misty, this was not hot at all. Like, what was wrong with you?
No,
Well,
I
I
I
was in
wouldn't.
La La Land, okay?
I don't think I would have loved it as much if the smut wasn't like solid.
And that's another thing that we talk about. Like sometimes you don't have to have a lot for it to still be hot and spicy,
Right. Yep,
right?
exactly.
It's not the quantity, it's the quality. And
Yep.
this was done very well.
Yep. I would rather have 3 fantastic, hot, steamy, give me all the spice scenes than 15 scenes
That are
of the
nothing.
same shit.
Yep. I think I'm gonna go based on our new scale. I think a 3 is gonna be good
Okay.
because I know we wove dark elements into it, but if we take that out, I feel like 3 is really good because 4 is like pushing on taboo and like forbidden, and I don't think that hits this at all.
Yeah, agreed. I concur.
Yay! I love it. Overall,
It's a 5 for me. I loved this book. I mean, audience, if you've listened to us for any sort of time, you know me well enough. Like I do not reread books, and I would 100% reread this. I'm really sad I haven't had a chance yet.
I give it 4 stars. I don't know why. I would reread it. I would recommend it. But it probably wouldn't be my go-to for a paranormal romance reread. I have
Right.
others that would be on top of it. I'm pretty sure maybe the only time I'm gonna reread it is in preparation for the books that follow, or if we have a discussion and it triggers it and I just wanna kinda, like, be back in her head when she realizes that their clothes shred when they shift, like, little things like that. So that's why I would give it a 4.
I like it. Awesome.
Yeah. Woo woo.
All right. Well, friends and listeners, I hope you all enjoyed the discussion about Bride by Ali Hazelwood. We would love to hear your opinion on it. Tag us on Instagram at Bones of the Story, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for joining us on the journey into the shadows of love, where dark romance stories come to light.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Bones of the Story as much as we did. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Your feedback means the world to us.
And to stay updated on all things dark romance, follow us on social media. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
We'd also love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, ideas, or even your own dark romance stories with us. Drop us a line at bonesofthestory@gmail.com.
Remember, our next tantalizing episode is just around the corner, so keep your hearts open and your senses sharp.
Until then, embrace the darkness and let the stories continue to stir your deepest desires.
This is Misty
And Jen,
signing off
from Bones of the Story.